In this video, I'm going to show you why you're stuck and how you can fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Loft.
What's happening? This is Brian Dawkins, and you're tuning in to The Loft.
Has brought out the best of me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Loft. I'm excited to have it back. It's been a while. I don't think I posted an episode in like 4 months. I'll explain why I haven't been posting. For a very specific reason. I think like with everything in my life, I like to give things my all when I do them, and you know the Club 215 stuff that I've been doing, and you know my own personal journey. I think I kind of needed to take a step back from a lot of things, and the Loft was one of them, and it wasn't like intentional. It just kind of happened that way. I think a lot of things in my life changed at this specific time. The Loft has been something I've been doing for 6 years. For anyone who's just tuning in and listening, I've been doing it for 6 years. I started during COVID as something that could connect me to people, and it just grew into something that I fell in love with, and something that I couldn't live without, and something that I woke up every day loving and thinking about. This is episode 130. Episode 100, I had Brian Dawkins on, and that was great. And then after that, I think I kind of hit a bit of a wall. Just internally, I think I burnt myself out a little bit getting to that point. And so I kind of chugged along. And then there's a point where I kind of stopped. But the one thing that I always said was that I missed my connectivity. I feel like when I don't have this podcast, I feel like I don't feel as connected to people. I love connecting with people. I love talking to people. I love having conversations with people. And most importantly, I love giving value. I love, trying to give people something they can take with them, no matter what, whether I'm DJing or doing a wedding or traveling or anything like that. When you see this episode, I'll be in Costa Rica doing a destination wedding. I'm very blessed. And that's another thing, too, is that this has been a documentation of my journey almost. All my relationships and people I met along the way. And I sat down here today and I said, I miss this podcast. I miss doing it. I miss connecting. And I'm ready to evolve. And I feel like I have evolved over this past year. And yeah, I'm excited to go in a new direction. I'm excited to go and continue to grow and continue to build my businesses I already have. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is, doing 20-minute episodes, 25-minute episodes, 30-minute episodes. Not necessarily all interviews or all, podcast interviews, but topics that I truly love and enjoy that I think can help people, and topics that you guys may want me to talk about. And today, the most fitting one for the episode that I'm back. It feels great to be back doing this podcast again. Going in full force. I'm going on. I redid the entire studio. I'm going to have some amazing guests on that I'm excited about. But today's episode is going to be about how to evolve. And I'll tie this into my own personal journey. Something that I struggled with this past year is finding myself going in a new direction. Finding myself you feel like you've done as much as you could. Now what's next? That's always the thing that I do when I DJ is what's next? How do I evolve? How do I grow? And I took a step back. I've been away for a few weeks, and I took a step back, and I just learned that the things that you used to love and be meant for, you're not necessarily meant for anymore. And that's not a bad thing. That could be people. That can be, habits. I think I outgrew a lot of bad habits in my life, and I think that I'm at a point now where I'm ready just to excel and soar and explore and take risks. I think one thing I've been is like safe. Obviously, I've done Club 205, and I've been very blessed to be able to do things I'm doing, but I feel like I need to take a risk. I need to take a really big risk. I needed to put myself out there more. I think a lot of people struggle with like, have like that I don't even know what it's called right now, but like that syndrome where like you feel like you're not actually doing the thing that you're doing. You feel like it's not you, and you feel like you're not capable of certain things, or you're not meant to do certain things. I threw all that out the window this past year. I've been very blessed to work with some amazing people, and we've been blessed to be able to be connected to a lot of good people. And I think the next few months, this summer, fall, I think you're gonna see a whole different side and evolution. And that's the one thing I want to talk about with you guys, isn't necessarily how to evolve or how to get out of that space that you're in right now, where like you feel like you're meant for more, but it's not necessarily where you're at right now. You may have outgrown a lot of people, but you're not with the new people that you think you should be. A lot of people think they're stuck because they're not motivated enough. I think motivation is the least reliable thing when it comes to evolving and growing. You don't want to get out of bed every day. You don't want to do the things you're supposed to every day. I think that all comes from habits. I truly believe it all comes from habits and the things you build over time. It's your identity, it's your awareness, and it's your discipline. I started training boxing, and I'm very excited about that. It's going to grow into a lot more things. But I would start training boxing, and one thing I've learned is that like when you step foot in that gym, you're there the entire time. That's your gym the entire hour. You're there. And with my job, it relies a lot on me having to create my own opportunities and, build good relationships and do all these things. I don't necessarily have to clock in, but like, that's a blessing, but it's also one of those things that can really hurt you if you don't use it properly. So the one thing I've been building on to evolve is my discipline. I started training more, I started working out more, I started putting myself in healthier environments. So motivation is the least reliable thing that there is. I don't believe in it. Because you're motivated sometimes by exterior forces. The motivation comes from exterior things. You may watch a video, you may watch this podcast, you may be super motivated, but your habits don't reflect it. And I think once you start to build better habits, that's when your discipline becomes, what you're looking for. Like you look at some of the best people, most successful people, it's not the motivation, it's a trap. Motivation is absolutely a trap. What they build are systems, and they build systems that create success, because systems develops consistency naturally. The one thing that I've learned from my job and from like I can't even call it a job, but like from my career that I've learned is that consistency breeds everything else. It breeds learning, it breeds questions, it breeds answers, it breeds solutions. And, when you're able to build a system of like, I wake up 9 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever, let's say if you're going to work for a 9 to 5, I wake up at 7:30 a.m., I get up, I make my bed, I brush my teeth, and then I go to work, go to 9 to 5 work, come home, go to the gym, give myself 2 hours to work on something that I may not have, passion projects, I guess you can call them, work on my passion projects, it's budgeting, it's creating a system. I think that's the number one thing for anyone to succeed, is that you create a system. So I always had my grandmom's quote book out that, she always taught me, is like, she always teaches me every day. I love you, Grandma. She always teaches me is that, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's something that always stuck with me. It's about your perception, about how you see life, about how you see the situation you're in. The one thing that I've learned, one quote that really stuck with me that I've learned this past year, is that you don't rise to your goals, but you fall to your habits. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. Because the one thing that I've learned as a DJ and as somebody who's an entrepreneur is that you are always going to have the next goal. You're always going to have the next thing, the next opportunity you're chasing, the next, the next thing you want to create or make, right? But what always holds you back is your habits and how you don't rise to, to them. You don't have good habits. You don't have good systems. You don't have good, you don't have good, routines. I think when you struggle to find a good routine, you're not building the consistency you need, because the opportunities come when you are consistent enough. Anything great is built over time. Overnight success is just not a thing. It's not real. Let's get that out of our minds now. It's not real. It may look that way, but when you build those good systems and those good habits, it creates, through that 10,000 hours, that's when those opportunities arise, you're ready for them. Another thing that I've learned is that perfection does not exist, and that overthinking kills creativity. It absolutely does. Overthinking kills creativity, and it breeds stress and anxiety. You're not going to be perfect. I think it is a hidden disguise for putting your stuff together, bringing your project to life or bringing whatever. I think that overthinking absolutely kills everything. The one thing that I'm teaching myself currently is that when I come up with an idea or a new edit or song, is that I'm making sure it's done and then I'm putting it out. I'm not waiting for releases. You can schedule them, like in regards to for life, right? Like if you have something you want to drop, like a concept that I'm dropping, I've been planning it for a while and I have everything done and I have a certain day that I'm dropping it, right? It's not like, oh, in 8 months I'm gonna, if you have something like that, you put it out now, because you learn over time. You're not perfect. I think the people get stressed about perfection. I think perfection's overrated. I think that it doesn't exist. You don't see perfection. Everyone messes up. Everyone screws up. So I think that overthinking just kills any momentum you have. Something else I've been thinking about a lot that has been breeding my evolution, I guess you could say, just like as a human being, is accountability. I think a lot of times in the past, I blamed others for things in my life, for a lot of circumstances. For something would happen, or somebody would do me wrong, or something along those lines. I've always blamed others. And the one thing I've been doing a lot this year is taking accountability for mistakes or circumstances I'm in. Because there comes a certain point where you sit in where you're at currently and you get stuck there, right? Like things don't change. You don't see a growth. You may have more money. You may have more, you may be booked more. You may have more things, but you're not necessarily growing. And I think that this year I've taken a lot of accountability in a lot of the things that happen in my life. And you trim the fat. You let the people go. You cut them out of your life. You get rid of certain things. You put yourself in a new environment mentally before. And at the end of this video, I'm going to have a foolproof concept of how you can evolve and how you can time travel and put yourself where you are. Put yourself where you want to be. Not really cutting this episode much, but I've just taken a lot of accountability. I think it's really important for people who want to succeed in life, is taking accountability. If you want to travel more and you want to be, you'll be playing a lot of new places, you have to put your mind there. You have to put your habits there. You simply have to put yourself there already. And you have to move that way. I think a lot of times people do the same things and they think, they just think to themselves, I can do this, but you're not changing what's in front of you. You're not moving different. You're not doing different things. You're not doing things you should be doing. If you want to find out what you should be doing, you research people, you look things up, you see people who you admire, people that you see online, that you scroll and watch online all day on. Oh, how do I live like, or how can I live like that? And you see, you watch your interviews, or you study them, and you see like certain things that they've done over the years, and a lot of times they've taken risks. And I think the next step in that is your identity. What do you want your identity to be? The number one thing people look at is, I want more money. I want more financial freedom. I want to travel more. I want to, have more money. The one thing that they never think about is who they become in that process. Who do I become? What are the actions I'm taking to get to those things, right? Like, because everyone wants to have these things. They want to have money. They want to have freedom. They want to achieve success. But the only real way to sustain it, from what I'm learning, is that who are you in that process? Because it's not going to last if you don't become that. Like I said, I've been training a lot, boxing, and honing in on new concepts that I'm working on and new ideas. And I've learned that to become the thing that I want, I have to become it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be your identity. Someone has to look at you and say, oh, I know Kev from, he's great with this or that, you have to become that thing. That has to be your identity, right? To achieve, and with that identity, you hone in on what you love and what you're doing and what your identity is and what you're good at. And that's when those opportunities come, because then you get recognized as that. And the identity shift comes from your habits, from the things you post online, from the places you play at, or the places you go, or the people you surround yourself with. I think that's been the number one thing for me, is like, I told my girlfriend Brittany this. I said, I want to be in these circles where, like, I don't feel like people fucking can just take stuff from me or can use me for things. I feel like over the past few years, I've been like used and abused a lot, and it kind of eats at you slowly. And I told her, I was like, when the fuck can I get something? When can I get a tab paid for me? Or when can I get a dinner? Or, like stuff like that, where like, it's because I'm not in the right places. I'm not in the right rooms. I'm not with the right people. And I think when you start to place yourself there is when the opportunities come. It's when that identity shift is pivotal. It's everything. And that's the number one thing that I've been doing this year is focusing on my identity shift and focusing on, okay, I've achieved this and this and this, but how can I reach this, right? You may have seen I signed with an agency. That was a step of mine to achieve that. But it's like, you have to, an identity shift has to happen. It has to. Because that's how you achieve everything you've ever wanted. And like another thing too is like, kind of, this is all in the same breath, right? All the same frame, like, the confidence to put yourself in those environments. I think that's because your environment shapes who you are. It shapes how you think. It shapes how you act. You're in an environment with people who are gambling. Odds are you're going to gamble. Well, it's the oldest saying in the world. You go to a barbershop, stay long enough, you're going to get a haircut, right? So it's like, there's nothing wrong with the what I just said, the gambling and all that stuff. It's like, it's just the concept of like, when you're in an environment with people who are doing certain things, you're going to end up doing it. And also too, if you are in that environment and you don't do it, you're sucking the energy out of yourself, right? Your energy is the most expensive thing you have, is your energy and your time. I want to be in rooms where I'm with millionaires, or I'm with people who have great, not even fucking millionaires, people who think the same way as I do. People who want to achieve success, achieve these things, want to collaborate, who want to work. Those are the rooms I want to be in, and with this podcast, like, you're going to be seeing me do that a lot more. I'm going to be putting myself in these rooms of people who like achieve this wealth and greatness, and because that's where I see myself. That's where I've been pushing. I started off as a fucking Northeast DJ in my neighborhood, and I'm going to Costa Rica tomorrow. Like, you sit and think about it, and like, I always thought I was never meant to do the things that I'm doing, and that's how I used to think. And then I started trusting myself, and I started believing in myself, and having the confidence of what I can do. I think a lot of times people just compare to others, and it consumes them, because you're looking at what other people are doing. It's like, yeah, but look at what the fuck you have done, or look at like what you're capable of. If someone's doing this, I could be doing that. And it's nothing against them. It's more of a confidence thing. It's more of something that you can do. At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that people screw up at is they wait. And my challenge to you, as I go into this new era of the podcast and the LOFT and my evolution of my identity, I want to do it with you guys. I'm still going to have guests. I'm still going to be, doing all the podcasts that I used to, but I'm also going to be adding more value in here as well. So my challenge to you is to stop waiting. Reach out to me, ask me questions, things you want to hear, talk about, because I study these topics. I put myself in these rooms where I want to learn, whether it's reading, whether it's watching videos. I constantly want to learn and evolve and grow. So my challenge to you is to stop waiting. If there's something you want to do, take the first step to do it. If there's a new identity that you want to move towards, take it. Just because you want to change your identity doesn't mean it's not who you are. It's just a new iteration of you. I think the one thing that I've seen is like a lot of people lack is like the evolution, right? It's not changing who you are, it's becoming, right? I think we're all becoming who we are, who we're supposed to be. But it takes time, and it takes experience, it takes the proper steps. So there's this guy, David Barry, right? And I was watching one of his videos because I was in a place where I was like, I see more for myself. I see myself, I see, like, I just see more, I see the place I want to live. I see the people who I want to be with. I see the opportunities that I want, and the opportunities that, I'm working towards. And so I came across this video. It's called "Everything You Want Comes When You Let Go." And that was so important for me to hear at that moment. And that was recently too. It was like super important for me to hear in that moment, because I was just like, you kind of get like pressure. You put yourself in a weird place. Like you put pressure on yourself to do these things. And it's like, I'm just learning the art of like trusting. I've always struggled with trust. And, I think past 6 months, I've been trusting myself and trusting where my life and my path is going to take me. So this guy, David Barry, who I've been doing a lot of research on and watching a lot of his videos, and I started reading his book, and he has this brain, activity, I guess you can call it. He calls it some sort of like time travel. And it's something that I'm going to show you guys for getting to the end of this video that you can implement into your own life. It's an exercise that I have it on my whiteboard in my room. It's something that I incorporate every day. I look at it every day, and it's going to help you evolve. It's going to help you understand who you want to become, and it's going to give you all the entire blueprint of the actions and the thoughts and the feelings of who you're supposed to become. So David Bayer has this video, and it's called Everything You Want Comes When You Let Go. And it's this activity that he talked about that really resonated with me. And essentially get a piece of paper or grab a whiteboard, and you put on the top something you really want to achieve, something you're really drawn to. Whether it's I want $10 million net worth, or I want to start traveling the world, or I want to become whatever you want to become, right? Whether it's a job, whether it's a point in your life, it could be financial, it could be, fulfillment, it could be anything, right? So for example, let's put, I want a $10 million net worth. You start by putting a column of emotions, thoughts, and actions. And you take the exact goal that you want on top. So I want to have $10 million net worth. And you put your emotions, right? What are the good emotions that somebody with $10 million feels? Do they feel secure? Do they feel financially free? Do they feel generous? Do they feel, like they want to start something new? They want to, they want to expand their mind or explore new things. Somebody, what are some good feelings they have, right? And then go down and list some negatives, right? Some negative feelings that somebody who doesn't have $10 million feels. They feel stress. They feel anxiety. They feel like they're cooped up. They feel like they're really, guarded. They feel, you feel really stiff. You don't really feel like your best self. Then go over to thoughts. What is somebody who has a $10 million net worth? Are they, for example, they're thinking, oh, what are some next investments I can make? What are the next things I can create? What's a new concept I can create? What charity can I donate to? What vacations can I plan? What new ideas can I really, really dig into? What are some things I can read about? How can I learn more? How can I get more knowledge? How can I learn more about what I'm already doing, what I'm already good at? Right? And then you go underneath. What are they thinking about? They're thinking about their bills. They're thinking about, how am I going to get, my next job? How can I get my next check? You're thinking in a scarcity mindset, Then you can go over to actions. And what are some actions that somebody with $10 million takes, right? So are they investing? Are they, what are the specific actions they're taking? Are they investing? Are they, actively researching new things? Are they creating new concepts? Are they, challenging themselves physically? Are they finding new hobbies? Are they staying connected with family? Are they, are they be hanging out with friends? Are they, what are some positive things that someone's thinking of? Write all that down. And then write negative things. Are they making poor investments? Are they making poor decisions? Are they engaging in habits that aren't necessarily beneficial? Are they going out every night? Are they drinking every night? Are they, write all these things down. And what I want you to focus on after writing all of that down on that piece of paper, on that whiteboard, is focus on the good things. Because those good things are the blueprint. They're exactly what you need to elevate to become that version of yourself. It doesn't have the ins and outs of every little thing, but it has the first step. I think a lot of people struggle with finding the first step because consistency breeds curiosity. Curiosity develops problems. Problems develop questions, and questions develop answers, and answers become solutions. And I think a lot of people struggle with that first step. Make sure you put that on that whiteboard, put that on the piece of paper, whatever goal you have in mind. It is the blueprint, because you are your actions, right? You are the steps you take. You are the thoughts that you have internally. We don't rise to our goals. We fall to our habits, right? We're building up new habits for ourselves. And this is a step that I've been taking, and it's been monumental, to say the least. And, I truly believe in you. And I believe that, this new era of the podcast is going to be the best one yet. And I just want you to remember that you are not your circumstances. You are not your problems. You are not where you are in life. You are simply your thoughts and implementing better thoughts, taking care of yourself, loving yourself. I think we live in a world now that gets a little tough for those things. It's a little tough to help others. It's tough to be generous. It's tough to be nice. And, I think the number one thing that we can do as human beings is be nice to each other. So remember to be nice to your neighbor. Remember to always believe that you can become undeniable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Loft. My name's Kev Nichols, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.